You're here listening, so I'll make a proper introduction, but I believe in beginning all things by practicing gratitude. So, first and foremost, thank you for joining the first episode of the In Her Mind podcast titled It's Now or Never. My name is Brittany, and I'm blessed to be your host. For years, I've ruminated about this idea of starting a podcast. I've always been drawn to the dynamic flow of real-time communication. The spoken word holds this immense power that simply cannot be replicated for me. From the early stages of my life, I've been an avid reader and writer. And as a young child, I recall spending countless hours at the small desk by the window in the room I shared with my identical twin sister. While other kids our age enjoyed playing outside, we would instead spend our time authoring handwritten 30-page stories about the Underground Railroad or using the fuel of our imagination to create secret worlds of supernatural heroes. Communication has always been a guiding light for me. It's been something I've excelled at. It's been something that I love. And now I've come to realize that God designed each of us with a unique voice as a way to identify our prayers, our joy, our fears, and our cries by name. We each have our own distinct sound, and for that reason, what we share with our individual voices is quite literally irreplaceable. Only you have the ability to tell your story. I recognize that my God-given talents have been the driving force behind my career success, and I've now reached a point where I can no longer ignore this call to action within myself. Now is the time to direct my energy towards leveraging those same natural talents that I've used throughout my life for other reasons to make an impact that both God and I can be proud of. For over 15 years, I've dedicated my talents and strengths to helping professional organizations communicate their policies, motivate employees, define their corporate missions, and elevate business strategies. And just a few weeks ago, I quit my job as a communications leader. I was working for one of the nation's leading providers of digital and cloud-enabled health solutions. They work across human services and the public health ecosystem. And although this is a very important job, a very prestigious job that anyone would be grateful to have, and I was grateful for that experience, my job now is to invest my time and skills towards my passion and higher purpose. Understanding that words are just words unless we build the bridges that bring them to life. The In Her Mind podcast is my gift to self. If I were to name an idol in the podcast world, it would have to be Mel Robbins. What I love about Mel is how authentic and easy she is. Despite the impressive professional credentials, her expertise, and now her success, she humbly approaches topics that matter to everyone. She's a voice for anyone. Something beautiful about Mel is her commitment to living out loud as her truest self. Mel could easily dedicate episodes to issues and bring in experts to chat us up and give advice while distancing her personal experiences from the narrative. Like Mel's natural charisma and raw talent as a conversationalist could easily be enough to carry the entire show without a single self-depicting story or any divulging of her personal life's lessons. As listeners or as readers of her many best-selling books, we would never know the difference. The spark about Mel is that she tells her stories anyway, as if she has a responsibility to do so. A powerful message I heard recently from Sarah Jakes Roberts on her Woman Evolved podcast echoed the same sentiment. Sarah spoke of starting her business and the guidance she received, and this guidance is to master planning without pressure. And the key here is trusting that God is lighting the path. This is about having an inner knowing that it's never too late or too early. The best time is always right now. And I agree. Divine timing is the internal guiding clock that requires us to trust in our intuition. We're asked to have faith that what we feel is a gentle nudge of wisdom and reassurance from God. And so let me pause here for a second, because for me, the gentle nudge comes from God. But for you, this could be from the universe or any higher power that you acknowledge. The point is, we have a feeling that we are exactly where we are meant to be at exactly the right time. That gentle nudge, for me, it prompted me to start scripting the first episode of this podcast from my plastic bucket seat in the community lounge of the Brook Hospital. So let me tell you something. Never, and I mean never ever, had I imagined that the big boost of inspiration that was finally going to get me over the hill and ready to start this podcast would hit me on day 4 of my voluntary stay at a mental health hospital. But here I am, answering the call. It's now or never. And let me tell you, I choose now. So this now era of my life is about using my voice to address the topics that matter most to me, to God, and to the people of my society, with the goal to help people be seen, to be heard, and to be healed. In my community of people, we are the change makers, justice seekers, trailblazers, innovators, warriors, truth tellers, and independent thinkers. We aren't afraid to be different or to dissent from groupthink. We are creators, lovers, mothers, leaders, believers. We are the chosen ones. We are soft yet courageous. We are the epitome of beauty, brains, and brilliance. We are the divine feminine. And together, we will rise. My call to action, it includes sharing the stories of my life that may make me uncomfortable, but are necessary testimony that will enable others to stand confidently in their own power. When answering the call to follow my divine path, God made it clear to me that my voice was meant to be heard and that my stories were meant to be told. I understand that the beginning of this beautiful song requires me to be a soloist, but only for the sake of setting the tone. My divine purpose is to light the path, ensuring that others feel empowered and inspired to lift their own voices and to rise with me. Together, we create something much, much stronger. In the coming weeks, we're tackling some big conversations with the In Her Mind podcast that you won't want to miss. Immediately following this debut, I'm jumping headfirst into the deep sea of the uncomfortable seas with the story behind my aha moment at the mental health facility and exactly what guided me there. Emotional, mental, spiritual, physical, and financial well-being are all important topics that will be foundational pillars on this show. Breathing life into this podcast and bringing In Her Mind to fruition, this is an essential part of my personal healing journey, and I invite each and every one of you to fully leverage the wisdom, laughs, tears, testimonies, and strategies that you hear on this show as catalysts for your own respective healing journey. Because each of us deserves the opportunity to be the best version of ourselves, happy, healed, healthy, and whole. Recording this inaugural episode has been an amazing, life-changing experience, and I want to thank every person listening for being part of a dream come true for me. I could not have done this without you. Have something to add to the conversation? Well, I'd honestly love to know, so please feel free to share it with me. You can easily email me at theinhermindpodcast@gmail.com. My only ask here, please allow me some time to respond, since after all, this is still a solo act for the time being. These days, I'm a mighty team of one, both personally and professionally, so although I'm excited to engage with my audience, I'm also in need of just a little bit of your grace and patience, so a big thank you in advance on that one. You can keep up with the latest happenings, give your feedback, ask questions, offer ideas for topics we can cover next, or even share your interest in joining me for a future conversation by engaging with us via our social channels. Right now, that means you can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Just look us up by name, the In Her Mind podcast, and hit the like button to stay connected. And of course, you can listen to new podcast episodes and replay your favorites, including this episode, exclusively via our YouTube channel. And again, that's simply titled In Her Mind Podcast. Later this week, I'll be releasing episode 2 titled, Does That Make Me Crazy? I'm sitting down with friends to talk mental health and the role it plays in our lives as mothers, professionals, and Black women. I really hope you'll join us. Until then, be well.